Good morning guys and welcome to another episode on the Retro Brown channel. Today we are doing a solo run in Gen 1 with just a Zubat. Just a Zubat. And genuinely I don't know if this is actually possible. So let's have a quick chat about it. It's got a base stat total of 245. We've seen other Pokemon with this sort of base stat total, but you gotta think as well, this is a poison flying type, the only poison flying type until much later in all the generations. And we don't have a very good moveset to work with, like it's a terrible moveset really. Today we're going to have the rival today as one of my more recent subscribers from the month for Retro Brown, which was Lax. Thank you for subscribing and I hope you enjoy this video. You're going to give me a very, very big challenge here. So we are going to go with Squirtle as the rival's Pokemon because at the end, the very final fight, he's going to have Blizzard, which is going to completely trash on the fact that we're a flying type. But that depends on whether we actually get there or not. I mean, we are a very bad Pokemon here, and we'll see this in the very first fight. Like, we only start off with Leech Life, Bug type move, 20 base power, and in Gen 1, Bug type moves are not very good. The only good Bug type move is pretty much just Twin Needle, and we lose pretty quickly. So, what does this mean when we're going into Viridian Forest? With only having Leech Life until level 10 where we get Supersonic, we are going to do alright against the Weedles because Bug is super effective against poison types, which means we can deal super effective damage out. But it takes a while to take down every single Pokemon. This means that Caterpie, when it doesn't have that poison typing, takes a long time to get taken down. And with Leech Life only having 15 PP, yeah, this means that we might actually reach the struggle range. It also doesn't help as well when a lot of these Weedles are going to start poisoning us, as you'll see in this next battle here. Because I went against every single trainer that I could, because there is no way in hell that a Zubat is going to beat Brock with just Leech Life. We're going to need Supersonic, and we might even need Bite, but we'll soon find out. So we'll do alright against the Cocooners, but we are losing the amount of PP very quickly, and we are going to have to rely on Struggle. So we're not recovering HP now, we don't have Leech Life, we are losing HP every single turn. But this leaves us with one last Weedle to go, and of course, with Poison Sting, there's that chance to get poisoned. And yeah, it's a very big struggle, but we can beat two of the three Bug Trainers in Viridian Forest quite relatively easily. What we're not going to beat very easily though is the Light Years trainer. Diglett has only got Scratch, and it's got a decent attack stat, meaning we're going to have to level up quite a bit against the Metapods. And it is a lot easier and a lot quicker to get rid of all our Leech Life PP, get to level 10 where we can actually get Supersonic, but you struggle to actually get XP a lot quicker. It took a long time just to get past Viridian Forest. And once we've actually got enough experience and enough levels, we've got Supersonic on our moveset. And with Supersonic just on its own, we should be able to take out the Light Years trainer. It's still going to be a struggle though. So at level 11 we're going into this, we Supersonic the Diglett, get it confused, and we start getting a little bit of our HP back with Leech Life. This is the only strategy we've got so far, and Sandshrew is going to be even more annoying, the fact it does have Sand Attack, and it's got pretty decent defenses for this early on in the game, which means confusion damage is doing a hell of a lot more than our Leech Life ever could. We need to keep it confused, but because we keep getting hit by Sand Attack, the chance of us actually hitting that 55% accuracy Supersonic is becoming nigh on impossible, so we had to go and level up a little bit more. But at level 13, we can do a decent amount of damage now. Once we can hit our Supersonic, we can start getting our HP back, and that there was a critical hit that we did there. Confusion damage is still doing more than a critical hit Leech Life, but it gives us enough to work with. Confusion worked in our favour with the RNG. It means we've actually got a chance to go against Brock for the first time. Now we're going into this at level 13. And yeah, we've only got Leech Life and Supersonic to work with, which is not a great scenario to be in. We've got 20 uses of Supersonic and 15 uses of Leech Life, so we need to pick and choose which moves we use and when. Leech Life is good for getting a little bit of HP back, but we don't have any defense increasing moves, and we do lose against the Geodude here. But I decided to give it another little try. So we are still level 13 here. We confuse the Geodude, and we go straight in with Leech Life. I think if we can get better RNG with Confusions, we might actually get through to the Onix, which would be very, very impressive for a level 13 Zubat, considering Bug-type moves are not very good against Rock. So this is going to be a bit of a lengthy battle, but we do get a clutch couple of critical hits, and we keep getting that Geodude confused, meaning we can take it out and still have a decent amount of HP when we go into that Onix. Yeah, this is going to take a bit of a while, and we are pretty much banking on the supersonic confusion damage to actually help us through this fight. One good thing about going against the Onix though with supersonic, it means that Bide is not going to do anything whatsoever until we get to the likes of Struggle. And he, in this instance, decides to just completely forget that he has got the move Tackle on his moveset. Keeps going for Bide, we keep him confused, and now we're on Struggle. And beyond all odds, our Zubat beats Brock at the level cap. I am absolutely amazed that this happened. The RNG on this second attempt was insane. Absolutely insane. I never thought a Zubat could beat Brock at level 14. So once we've beaten Brock, we can now move on to Mount Moon, where we go against the Raticate. And considering this Raticate has got ridiculous attack, we've now got Bite, but our defenses are shocking. Our defenses are our very worst stats, so I opted to miss the Raticate rocket and go straight for the next rocket and the Super Nerd, because with Leech Life he's got a couple of poison Pokemon. Means we can actually get through the fight pretty comfortably, and Bite is a pretty good move. In fact, apart from the likes of Takedown or Double Edge, it's pretty much one of our best moves that we're going to get on this run. And that's quite worrying. Considering we've got Wing Attack, which we do get the stat bonus on at level 28. Wing Attack is awful in Gen 1, it's only got 35 base power. So going against the rival in Cerulean City, its first two Pokemon aren't too much of a problem considering we now have Bite as a move. Bite is pretty powerful, and the Squirtle's not going to be too much of a problem until we get to that final Blastoise. You might think that going against the Charmander might have given us a harder run throughout the entire thing, but no. That final fight where you're going against the Blastoise with Blizzard is definitely going to be a much tougher fight. So once we beat the rival, we can move on to Misty. And Misty is not going to be too much of a problem as long as we can keep our HP up. We have actually put Bide on our moveset right now, because I don't know if we're going to need this for the Starmie, but either way, yeah, that's how much damage Bubble Beam does. So unless I get incredibly lucky here, like I did with Brock, I don't think we're going to be able to do this one at the level cap, but I was really determined. I decided to try and do the first two gyms at the level cap, and that is a much harder task than you would believe it is. The Brock fight only took 2 attempts. The Misty fight, I'll be honest, it took me so many attempts, but I was so determined to beat Misty at the level cap. And guess what? We get the win because of Confusion luck. We got Confuse Rate level 21, which means we had a fantastic move to work with to get rid of Supersonic. Supersonic's only got 55 base accuracy. Confuse Rate's got 100%, meaning we're guaranteed to confuse that opponent. So once we've beaten Misty, we can go pick up our HM Pokemon, and yeah, usually the two that I always pick up a Spearow and I always pick up Sandshrew. Pretty much because Sandshrew can learn Dig as well, which means we can dig out of areas, but they're both available to the west of Cerulean, meaning we can get 2 great Pokemon, and we don't have to go looking in the grass for any more Pokemon for the rest of this run. We can pick up the Lapras in Silphco, which means you've got your Surf user and your Strength user. But yeah, it cuts out so much time. That's why I use those 2 Pokemon. Moving on to the SSN, we are going against the rival. And yeah, we are massively over leveled right now. But this is needed. We've got up so many levels because we had to go to Nugget Bridge after beating Misty and the rival on Nugget Bridge. But even at level 27, you might think we will sail through this battle. That's not the case. Especially when he's got a Kadabra, which will later turn into an Alakazam. If he uses one Confusion on us, we are pretty much gone. But as long as we can hit our Confusions, we can get the Bites in. The Wartortle's not doing too much damage right now, but it means that we've also got through this fight. But that was a real struggle, and we can now learn Wing Attack, which we will remove Bide for. Which I kind of got to certain points in this video and I thought, you know what, Maybe we actually should have kept Bite, but no, Wing Attack, it does have the stab bonus. There are a few gyms coming up where Flying type is preferable. But anyway, at level 28, we have our first attempt against Surge, and I'm worried for this one because, yeah, we are weak to electric type attacks, and he has Thunderbolt and Thundershock, meaning we need to be able to take out his Pokemon pretty quickly. If we can get the Confusion look, that works in our favour, but when that Raichu comes out, we get it confused, we do a big amount of damage with Bite, but Thunderbolt comes out and we take a loss against Surge. So he has promoted himself once again. How many more videos is it going to be where Surge actually beats me on the first time? I know I don't have the advantage, but come on, Surge is usually awful. And even on this attempt where we get down to 9 HP, another Thunderbolt doesn't work in our favour, so it actually made more sense and more time saving to move all the way back to Cerulean and progress through Rock Tunnel, because at this level I was just not getting the right look and I didn't want to keep wasting time. So we can move back through Cerulean, and we've got another problem, and that is actually the Pokemaniacs in Rock Tunnel. You might have thought I was going to say the Exploding Hiker. Yes, he is going to be a problem, but we also have another problem with the Pokemaniacs, because there's at least 3 in this Rock Tunnel. They've all got Slowpokes with Confusion. We don't deal out very much damage, even if we are massively over level compared to them. And even just one Slowpoke can completely wall us. This one here is a level 25 Slowpoke. If Confusion doesn't work, and we don't deal out enough damage with Bite, and we don't recover enough with Leech Life, yeah, we're going to struggle. And it took me a canny few attempts to get past this Slowpoke, where we actually got the RNG right with the Confusion look. I love using Confusion moves in Gen 1, but because they're never guaranteed, but wow, sometimes the luck just goes your way, sometimes it just really doesn't. And that's the same case with the Exploding Hiker. Yeah, his self-destructs do massive damage, and he has 2 more Pokemon here, where they're both going to use Confusion. Bite is still strangely our best move, but these Geodudes also have Rock Throw. When we do finally get through Rock Tunnel, battered and bruised, we make it to Lavender Tower at level 32. One of the reasons why I enjoyed using Bite so much on this run, yes, it's 60 base power, but it also has that chance to flinch, which is, you know, a great asset to have when you don't have many moves to work with. Later in the run, we definitely are going to have Double Edge, because it's the most powerful move that we can actually learn. Unless we go with Mimic strats and we can mimic another move from somebody, yeah, Double Edge is going to be our best move to use. I mean, looking at the shallow move pool we have here, we don't even get Sludge or Poison Sting. We only get Toxic as a poison stab move, and that doesn't help us whatsoever. Wing Attack's our only flying move. We can't even learn Fly. I mean, we're a tiny bat, and we've got so much against us with a Zubat, and it does not make me confident for when the Golbat run comes along. But you've got to admit, getting to this stage even with just a single Zubat is quite impressive. And yeah, as you've seen there, we've just lost to Erica. We didn't even get one attack in because we went into that fight paralysed. We need to outspeed things if we're going to have any chance against any trainer. So that's why I'm leveled up a bit higher and investing more into our speed stat, because we need to be able to outspeed things. 55 base speed is awful. We managed to get through the victory bell this time because Confusion look works in our favour, but Tangela just decides to just do quite a bit of damage. And we're not going to learn Haze on this one. Because we've got such bad stats to work with, it's not going to be worth our time to try and get rid of any stat increases that they do or they do to us. I mean, it might be worth it if they try and poison us or anything like that. I don't know, does Haze get rid of any status effects, or is it just the stat increases? I can't remember off the top of my head. Someone let me know down in the comments, that would definitely help, because I've never used Haze on one of my runs before. We managed to beat Erica though, and we can move on to Giovanni, who now we have picked up the move Mega Drain. We've finally got some type variation in our moveset. We can actually deal out quite a lot of damage against his type. The Kangaskhan, definitely going to be the harder matchup here because it doesn't have any weaknesses we can exploit. We don't have any fighting type moves, and fighting type moves in Gen 1 aren't generally very good. But we managed to take him down. Granted, at level 38, we are really shooting up in the level cap here. There's no way we would have beaten some of these gym leaders at level cap. especially Surge. But now we've beaten Erica, we can make our way back and we can see how we do against him. At level 38, a bite doesn't still even take out the Voltorb. Takes out the Pikachu, but it won't take out this Raichu. And if we got hit by a Thunderbolt there, you know what, I genuinely think we would have lost that fight as well, even at level 38. But now we've got his badge, we can move on to the next gym leader, which is going to be Koga. And yeah, this poses another problem as well, because even though he's a poison type gym leader, his gym trainers aren't. They use mostly psychic type trainers, so I decided, you know, there's no point going in for a fight here against Koga. We need to be a higher level to do this. So I went to the fighting dojo, where we've actually got tight matchup by using Wing Attack. And even here, this is a bit of a slog. Wing Attack is such a bad move. I have no idea what they were thinking when they were coding Gen 1, and they thought, you know what, Wing Attack, yeah, let's make that into a 35 base power move, because that makes sense. Yeah. No, it's an awful move, but it's the only stab move we can get, really, so we might as well use it where we can. But this poses another problem. I realised here that Zubat is really not ideal for like a series of fights. You have to go back to the Poke Center a lot, and you have to heal up a lot, because it just doesn't have that bulk to be able to take hits at all. And it poses a lot of problems. It means we have to go back to the Pokemon Center a hell of a lot and waste a lot of time. It was alright in that very early game, has its little moments, but now we're getting into the mid to the late game. Yeah, we are really starting to struggle as soon as the Psychic Pokemon start coming out. Execute, it's not a problem really. As soon as we can wake up, we can Wing Attack it down, but the big problem is going to be this Alakazam in pretty much every fight that we have. Psybeam just does tons of damage, and that's not even its most powerful Psychic type attack. So let's try this again at level 49. It's been a while since we had to be nearing level 50 to beat this part of the game. This is Rival 5 in Silphcore here. Yeah, Lax is really... you are really giving me a tough time with this Zubat. But, coming into this at level 49, I did see a bit of a light. So, once the Execute has gone to sleep, it might have actually been worth keeping Leech Life a little bit further into this run. But Mega Drain becomes so much more useful as we get further and further into the game. The most annoying thing about this Execute, of course, is the fact that it uses Hypnosis, which, even though it's only got a very low amount of accuracy, seems to hit us every single time in every single video. And Psybeam again. So I went up to level 53. This is probably the highest level I've had to be for quite a while, but needs must sometimes, needs must. Zubat is not a good Pokemon. So, we've managed to get past up all the way to the Growlithe. We've taken minimal damage. Execute was out. It's only going to use Hypnosis or Reflect because of Psychic type moves, and he has good AI. So we're now onto the Alakazam. We get it confused. We can now outspeed that Alakazam at level 53. I mean, at level with 31 HP, we can start getting back our HP against the Blastoise, because it doesn't have massively strong water moves at this point, and becomes quite an easy win. It's just that Alakazam that is becoming the big problem. We beat the rival and we can go against Giovanni. So, again, this is Giovanni. With flying type moves and such, he's not really going to be too much of a problem. We've got Mega Drain for the Rhyhorn. Kangaskhan will go, as long as we can get it confused. Yeah, honestly, Confusion is probably turning out to be one of my favourite status effects in all of Pokemon right now. Just based off these last couple of runs where we've had to use a lot of Confuse Rays. Yeah. Nidoqueen, it's going to go down to a couple of bites, and we actually finished Giovanni at full HP. So, the game's now opened up now we've beat Silphcore. This means we can go back to Koga or we can go against Sabrina. And I'm not too sure which one's going to be the easier one. So, while we were in Saffron, it made sense to just go to Sabrina and see how we did. If we can outspeed, we can confuse them, then we should be able to take them down. So Wing Attack did big damage there, but we are 17 levels against Mr. Mime. Bite will help us out here when we get the critical hits. And Confuse Ray, honestly, if we didn't have Confuse Ray, I would have probably said this is definitely impossible this run. Alakazam, as long as we can keep it confused, and he seems to only go for Reflect here, and then kills himself in confusion. So we get a first time win against Sabrina, which is not the gym leader I thought we would have got a first time win against. Genuinely, I thought we'd have been stuck at Sabrina for so much longer and this video would go on forever. But we beat her, we move on to Koga after finally getting through all of his gym trainers, who were posed a much more serious threat than Koga ever will. Confuse rate. His Pokemon have actually got decent attack, which means that they do decent amount of damage to themselves. We keep him confused, we wing attack and chip away the damage, but the worst thing here was the fact that he started using Minimize. And we couldn't confuse him again, so we're going into the final two Pokemon with only 58 HP. We are disabled on Mega Drain, so we can't even get back a little bit of chip damage. And now we start using Smokescreen. We're on 17 HP here, going into the wheezing of all things, and we don't have a way to get rid of Self-Destruct. So yeah, we had to try this again. So this time level 55. Most Pokemon, you know, a hell of a lot of Pokemon I've done these runs with. I've done over half the Pokedex now. I would say less than about 20% of them had to be level 55 just to even get past Giovanni as the final gym leader. We're at level 55 and we haven't even beat Blaine yet. We haven't even beat Koga. So this is just paying testament of how bad Zubat actually is. But strangely, this is actually kind of a fun run. Oh, Self-Destruct, and we tank it with 7 HP. That's lucky. If we'd even taken one hit off that Weezing before he used Self-Destruct, we would not have won that. That brings us on to Blaine. Now, Blaine is strangely going to... Well, I wouldn't say strangely. He's going to be one of the easier gym leaders we go against. He doesn't have a super effective type matchup, and a lot of his Pokemon have Psychic type moves, meaning they will only spam them. Rapidash is out next, and the main thing we want is not to get hit by Fire Spin. And we want to get the confusion off, we want to chip away with him with Bite. Yes, I'm still using Bite right now, I haven't moved over to using Double Edge, because the worst thing about using Double Edge is that recoil. Yeah, we lose to a Fire Blast there. The worst thing about Double Edge is that recoil, and if you're trying to do a longer battle like this with a very bad Pokemon like Zubat, we don't really have a fail-safe way of getting our HP back. Mega Drain is good, but at the same time, we're against Blaine, a Fire-type trainer. Mega Drain's going to do F all to his Pokemon. We're going to get barely any HP back. So we have to tank it, we have to try and get those flinch chances. And we're through to his Arcanine on full HP. We get the Confuse Ray off. Bite does decent damage. It's probably going to be about a 5-hit KO here. And we don't want him to use... Oh, we get a crit. Well, that's one way to do it then. So, next up is Giovanni, the last gym leader we need to face before we tackle the Elite Four with a Zubat on its own. I genuinely don't know how this Elite Four is going to go. Oh, we missed the ledge. Oh, okay. So, Giovanni's gym is actually going to be a good chance for us to level up. We're already struggling at Blaine and we're level 58. And yeah, we're going to need some more levels before we even tackle that Elite Four. I've not even attempted to use any of my rare candies yet. I've gone out my way to go and pick up the extra ones in the likes of the Power Plant. I've pretty much gone out my way to get every single rare candy that we can find. And I think I need to do a video of where all these rare candies, all these hidden items are at some point. If you are going to attempt your own solo runs, they are very fun. But if you know where these items are, it definitely helps you out. Going against Giovanni, we're now level 60. And we're still struggling a bit. Nidoqueen just does big damage to us, and we have no real good way of getting our HP back. We need to get past the Nidoqueen and the Nidoking before we can actually deal super effective damage out on that Rhydon. But it's not going to happen. A Horn Attack comes in, and Fail goes down at level 60. So let's try this again. We know that the Rhyhorn, the Dugtrio are not going to be much of a problem. Mega Drain is a perfect move for them too. Nidoqueen though, we need to get them that good confusion look. We need to get some flinches in as well if we can. And we managed to get through the Nidoking with full HP. He hits himself confusion, but then gets straight back out of it. So, Nidoking this time round, because of the better RNG, was so much easier. Mega Drain, even though we're 10 levels above it and Rhydon has bad special, our special is also one of our second worst stats. It takes 2 Mega Drains to take out the Rhydon, and we can move on to Lax before the Elite Four again. So he starts off with a Pidgeot this time, and this Pidgeot has agility, meaning it's not going to attack us with anything, and we can get through to the Rhyhorn without losing any HP. But this is also going to pose another problem as well. So, we can get through the majority of his Pokemon quite comfortably. Even Execute is not a problem really. We can use Wing Attack to do super effective damage, we don't get paralysed. But the Alakazam is up next, and at level 50 it is outspeeding us, which is not a good position to be in. Psybeam nearly takes us out in one, and Bite does barely enough damage to even tickle it. And we go down to 2 hits. So what can we do differently here? You probably already figured it out. Because this Pidgeot is only going to use agility on us, we can utilise the Badge Boost glitch here. I've managed to get through to the entire... I've got through all 8 gyms right now without utilising it. But this fight was just impossible without it, without having to level up even more. So we are going to utilise the Badge Boost glitch in this fight. And this just shows how broken that glitch is, really. It's... Again, the first 3 Pokemon... second verse same as the first. I never managed to say that right. But we get through very, very easily. We set up our agilities. But we are paralysed and we have been leech seeded, which is not a great scenario to be in, regardless of how good our speed is. We can Fuse Ray the Execute. It does get a Solar Beam in. And yeah, Wing Attack. It's going to take 2 hits. But this leads us on to the Alakazam. Do we outspeed it even with all of that? No, we don't. So this is probably going to be a loss. Yes, it is. So even when you're Badge Boost glitching, you know, this doesn't even mean that you've got a guaranteed win. The reason why we didn't win that last fight really though, was because we leveled up during the fight, meaning we had to set up agilities again. But when you go, I used one of my rare candies here to go up to level 61, meaning that the Badge Boost glitch is going to be there for the entirety of this fight pretty much. We get through the first 3 Pokemon, pretty much the same as normal. With that Badge Boost glitch, our attack is definitely a lot better. He goes for... we didn't get Stun Spore this time, meaning we can outspeed very, very easily. He sets up a Reflect of all things. And we can just use Wing Attack to keep chipping away at him. Ooh, Psychic nearly took us out. And Blastoise is last, meaning Mega Drain will just get our HP back. And we nearly... If that Hydro Pump had hit, we probably would have lost. But I'm annoyed to say that we had to use the Badge Boost glitch here. But I'm not going to... I don't feel like we're going to need it for every single fight. Let's have a quick talk about Lorelei. Lorelei is unanimously hated by solo runners because she's got such a good type matchup and she's right at the start. Even her Dugong, at 15 levels lower than what we are, can still one-shot us with an Ice-type move. This is how bad our stats are. And I have pumped so many steroids into this Zubat that honestly it's stacked for a Zubat. But it didn't matter what we did. We just had to keep trying, like going up a couple of levels. There's not really too much move-wise we could change. Either way, we were struggling. And Aurora Beam just couldn't deal out enough damage. No, not Aurora Beam. Wing Attack just couldn't deal out enough damage. And we just had to rely on getting good RNG from the Confuse Ray. Mega Drain was perfect because it meant we can keep getting our HP back. And we kept putting her into a range where all she was doing was using Soup Potions for a bit. Now, the Slowbro will only use Amnesia, and this is where we need to Badge Boost ourselves. As you see there, Mega Drain, just one on its own, is not enough to work here. So we're going to set up our Amnesias here to boost the special. And that's how much more damage it's doing with the Amnesias. Meaning we've actually got a chance to get through these next couple of Pokemon. The Jinx is... Oh, come on. Ice Punch. Okay, let's try this one last time. Level 73. This is getting to like Spearow level bad of how high the level is here. But we've got a decent strategy. So, once that Dugong is asleep, that's the chance where you can actually start doing damage. As long as the Cloyster is confused, you've got a chance to actually get some HP back with Mega Drain. When the Slowbro comes out, you mimic it with Amnesia. You get your stats as high as you can. And then from there, you can Mega Drain, get as much HP back. That leads us then on to the Jinx, which is now... It's still going to be a problem. If it uses Ice Punch on us, it's just not a good scenario. But Confusion works in our favour this time, meaning we get to Lapras for the very first time. And one Mega Drain is still not enough to take it out. I was hoping that we didn't get a lucky freeze there, but we managed to get through and we can finally go against Bruno for the first time. Which, for the first time in so long, we have a good type matchup against. I'm actually going to use Mimikard in here to get our stats a bit higher, because Bruno just, after losing so many times to Lorelei, I wanted to just have a whitewash victory. Once we set up all our Hardens, the Badge Boost glitch is in full effect. Wing Attack does huge amounts of damage to all of his fighting type Pokemon. Mega Drain decimates his Onyxes. And that brings us on to the final Machamp. One Wing Attack doesn't even do Heart. It takes us so many Wing Attacks, but we don't take any damage and we win the fight, bringing us on to the next Elite Four member that I was not looking forward to. Agatha is annoying, but in the weirdest turn of events, the very first turn, she switches into Golbat. And this is where I realised that mimicking a Golbat is not the worst thing. So I reset here to give myself another try, because I mimicked the wrong move. What we want to be doing here is mimicking Nightshade. You might be thinking, why Nightshade and not the likes of Hypnosis? Well, Nightshade does a set amount of damage, and considering our high level, we're always dealing out 74 damage, meaning majority of our Pokemon, apart from the last Gengar, will all get taken out by 2 Nightshades. Mathematically, that works in our favour, and even by using Haze there, it does get rid of the confusion. And we are down to quite low HP here. The Confusion takes out the Haunter, we're onto the Arbok, which isn't a Ghost type Pokemon, but there's not many Ghost Pokemon to work with in Gen 1. And we're on 3 HP, moving into... we lose this one. One last try against Agatha. We're going for Nightshade Mimic, and if she switches into Golbat, giving us a free turn to get a couple of Nightshades off. Brings out our original Gengar, we put it in Confusion, and 2 Nightshades will take it out. We do take a Nightshade ourselves, and we need to keep our HP up as much as we can. We can't afford to be taking hits here. Wing Attack will take out the Haunter, bringing us onto the Arbok. Come on, we need the Confusion to work in our favour here. We do not get Glared, which is perfect. Confuser is next, and we should be set for the final bit here. Wing Attack gets us the win, and 3 attempts against Agatha is not a bad standpoint, really. Bringing us on now to Lance. We don't have a good matchup in any of our moves. Even Mega Drain is not super effective against Gyarados because it has that flying type. And you might be thinking, what move can we mimic? Well, I opted for Hydro Pump. Only 2 of his Pokemon can actually hit us. Meaning what we need to do is get past both the Gyarados... 1 HP, flipping heck. Yeah, the Dragonaires and the Dragonite have got Psychic type moves on their roster with Agility and Barrier. Meaning these are the Pokemon that we can get our HP back on. The Aerodactyl doesn't have a Rock type move. Meaning all it's going to do is go for either Bite or Supersonic, really. If we can get past these Dragonaires who are only going to spam Agility, the Aerodactyl's the only problem. This is why we wanted Hydro Pump, because it's a super effective move. He misses a lot of his moves and we take it down, meaning we are going for our first time win against Lance. But this is a bit of a slog, as you can see how much damage Wing Attack is doing, regardless of the fact that we are 13 levels higher than it. Our attack is just ridiculously bad. and our attack is our second best stat, which says a lot about this Pokemon. We are still relying on confusion damage to get us through these fights, and I think this is the longest Lance battle I've ever done. We're going into the final Lax fight with a Zubat. I never imagined I would actually get here with a Zubat. Let's see how we do. Level 75, and Confuse Ray does big damage. Well, no, it doesn't do big damage. What am I talking about? It puts it in confusion. Wing attack will just chip away. And we've got a decent amount of HP, but next up is the Alakazam, and we do outspeed it, which is huge. Absolutely huge. At level 75, we can outspeed the final Alakazam. But if we need to mimic Recover, we're giving him a chance to actually take us out. So now is the time to be using Double Edge. Once we get that confusion off, it hits itself, Double Edge can take it out in one, meaning we can then recover our HP against the Rhydon, who will barely do any damage to us, and we can move on to the Arcanine. Confuse Rate, and then we'll Double Edge, because we've got a couple more Pokemon coming up where we can actually get a little bit of HP back. The Executor is infuriating. Because it's got Hypnosis, which is the move that we want it to use, it's a Psychic type move, meaning it's the only move that it will spam. But we managed to take it out this time, but we have Hypnosis for this Blastoise. We hit it on the first time, we confuse it just for good measure, and then chip away with Mega Drain. We want to keep it asleep, otherwise we will lose. It stays asleep and gives us the chance to take the win at level 78. Level 78, Zubat on its own. I'm proud of this one. Regardless of what time we got here, I'm proud that I actually managed to beat the game with a Zubat, because it is known to be a bad Pokemon. 7 hours and 32 minutes. That's how long it took us in-game to actually beat this game. And considering I do this on 4 times speed, that's nearly over 2 hours of my life that I won't get back because of Zubat. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we get next time on the wheel. Chansey is up first. That is a very strong contender. Chansey is broken in Gen 1. Okay, let's see how we do on Charizard's next. It's not a bad pick, but we have done the Charmander run quite recently. Next up is Oddish. No, you know what? I've done quite a few tough videos. I think I'm going to go with Chansey for the next one. If you got to this point in the video, please like, share, subscribe, you legends. And I will see you next week with another video. Take care all. Appreciate yous.